What's up, everybody? I'm Dan Karpuc, and we have an all-NBA edition of Trend or Trap today. 3 strong debates, 3 big edges. Let's get right into it. This is Trend or Trap, presented by TrendsCenter, and it is April 1st, 2026. Debate number 1, Celtics at Heat ATS per TrendsCenter. Coming off a loss by 7 or more points over the last 3 seasons, the Celtics are 27-7 against the spread. That's 79%, almost 20 units of profit, over 50% ROI. So the question, is this a trend or is this a trap? Do we back the Celtics minus 4.5, or is Miami plus 4.5 this side? I'm going to say that this is a trend, and I'm going to back the Celtics here for a variety of reasons. Yes, the ATS records of these teams are nearly identical. The Celtics 43-32, the Heat 44-32. Both of these teams are elite in that respect, but I'm going to back the Celtics in the spot. I trust Joe Mazzulla in these bounce back spots. As someone who watches this team very closely, Boston consistently responds after bad performances. They're coming off a 112-102 loss to Atlanta without Jason Tatum and Neemias Queta, and now they're in a prime get-right spot. They've already beaten Miami 3 times this season, 3-0 straight up. They won by 2 and didn't cover, won by 5 and covered, and won by 13 and covered earlier in the year. And here's what really stood out during those 3 wins. Boston controlled the pace in all 3 of those games. Miami plays at the fastest pace in the entire league. Boston plays at the slowest pace in the entire league. These are contrasting styles, yet these matchups have averaged a 97.17 pace. That strongly favored the Celtics half-court style of play. For reference, that would have been the 3rd slowest in the league among all teams on the season. So Boston has really controlled the pace in this matchup all season long. Boston's also elite on both ends of the court, 2nd in offensive rating and 4th in defensive rating. And you have to think of all of the amount of this season that was played without Jason Tatum. That's remarkable. These numbers hold steady against Miami too, almost identical in those 3 matchups against the Heat. Add some injury uncertainty for the Heat with Norman Powell out, Andrew Wiggins questionable, and for me, this is clear. This is a trend. Give me the Celtics minus 4.5. Debate number 2, the Nuggets at the Jazz total. Now, this is a pretty crazy one here, and I do have to say, I did find a trend with this here. I'm going to pop it up on the screen of how I used TrendyBot, our AI tool, to find this, and all I had to do is search when the Nuggets are road favorites this season, what's the over record. That's pretty much all I had to do. I know that this has been a trend that I've been on here and there throughout the season, and when the Nuggets have been on the road, I know that the over has consistently hit, so I just wanted to see when they're road favorites, what has been the record. Well, guess what? The record has been 20-6 to the over. That's 77% just about, with plus 13.4 units of profit. I'm going to see that. You could probably see that on the screen right now about how I used TrendyBot to do that in the search tool, and you could do that over on the TrendsCenter app for yourself. So the real question here, though, is over 248.5. That's a huge total. A trend or a trap? I'm going to ride with it and say the over is a trend that I want to back here. This is the perfect storm for points. Denver has the number 1 offense in the NBA by offensive rating. They're putting over 121 points per game on the board. And Utah has the worst offense in the NBA, allowing over 125 points per game. Lately, it's gotten even worse too. Over their last 5 games, Utah has allowed 133.4 points per game on average, allowing their opponents to shoot 53%. The tank is fully on. Meanwhile, Denver is going in the opposite direction. They're on a 6-game winning streak, averaging 127.8 points per game in that span on 52% shooting. These teams have already played 3 times this season and combined for 264, 253, and 247 total points. Most importantly here, in my opinion, Utah has absolutely no answers for Nikola Jokic. No one really does, but especially this Utah team. We're talking a couple of triple-doubles in two of the three performances. Complete dominance. Those triple-doubles were also 14, 13, and 13, and 33, 15, and 12. So we're not talking about 10, 10, and 10 here. It was just utter, complete dominance. And the usual guys are going to be out here for Utah. Jaren Jackson Jr., Walker Kessler, Lauri Markkanen, also Keontae George, Isaiah Collier are going to be on the bench. Aaron Gordon is the only one who is showing up in the starting lineup, at least for Denver, on the injury report, and he's probable. And both Spencer Jones and Zeke Naji will be out for the Nuggets, but I don't really see that becoming an issue. If you bet player props, I wouldn't even rule out Jokic posting a first half triple-double tonight in this matchup. The Jazz also allow the most wide open shots in the NBA, the most wide open threes, the most fast break points. Recently, get this, a ridiculous 64.8 points in the paint over that last 5-game stretch. That's 13 points worse than their season average, and by far the worst in the NBA in that span. This could get ugly fast. Lots of easy looks around the rim, lots of wide open shots given up. This is a trend. I'm going to go with over 248.5, which I never thought I'd say, to be honest. Debate number 3, Spurs at the Warriors total. And here's a long-term system from TrendsCenter. Favorites of 9+ points coming off a win, facing a team coming off a loss with a total above 220, have gone 467 and 347 to the over. That's 57%, 85 units of profit over the course of 30 seasons. So naturally, that points us to over 226.5 here in this matchup. And the question is, trend or trap? I'm going to say trend again. These teams have already combined for 239, 217, 245 points in their 3 matchups this season, and both offenses show up in these splits. The Spurs have ranked 7th in road offensive rating, and the Warriors rank 9th at home with the same exact offensive rating of 118.1. Even with injuries for Golden State. Yes, Steph Curry is going to be out. Yes, Jimmy Butler is going to be out, of course. And they have a slew of other guys that are going to be out, as I'll get to in a second. I think this is going to set up as a high-scoring game script here. On the other side, Victor Wembanyama is playing at an MVP level. This is the kind of matchup where he can absolutely take over offensively and kind of stat pad a little bit. Luke Cornett, his backup, is also going to be out tonight, so maybe a few more minutes will be available for Wemby. The Warriors are going to be without Curry and Butler, as I mentioned, but also Al Horford, DeAnthony Melton, Moses Moody, Kristaps Porzingis, Quinton Post, and potentially Gary Payton Jr. and Guy Santos, who are both questionable. I would assume that Payton and Santos will try to go just because of the personnel that are already out. But between pace, efficiency, proven previous results, the number still feels a little bit short to me. I think this is a trend, and I'm going to go with over 226.5 and trust that long-term system. So that's 3 NBA plays, 3 trends that I'm backing. The Celtics -4.5 versus the Heat. Nuggets, Jazz, over 248.5, and Spurs, Warriors, over 226.5. And if you want more trends in systems just like these, you have to just open or download the TrendsCenter app. And guess what? If you enter code FINAL4, F-I-N-A-L, in the number 4, you get 50% off your first month of TrendsCenter Premium Access right now for a limited time only. Let's keep it rolling. Thanks for tuning in. I will catch you right here tomorrow. I am Dan Karpuc for TrendsCenter, and this is Trend or Trap.